the way that Luka came out in the first quarter. I mean, how did you try it? What did you see out there, and what made it so impossible to get on top of it?
Oh, first and foremost, congratulations to the Mavericks. You know, they won this series, they earned this series, they deserve this series. So congrats to them and their entire staff. And you know, they were led by two world-class players that played at a world-class level. And to answer your question, you know, Luka came out tonight, put his stamp on the game. You know, hit a couple bomb threes that kind of gotten them really loosened up. And then, you know, offensively, we were kind of never really settled in. Their physicality bothered us, and so the game kind of slipped away from us in the first quarter when we missed a lot of easy stuff. You know, went one-on-one too early, just kind of got busted out of any kind of offensive structure. You know, and then we couldn't get stopped. So that was the game.
Seems like people believe that younger team have to go through these before you can get. Do you believe that was the case, where guys just not quite as ready for the moment as?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some of that, you know, but we had chances early on in this series to make it, you know, more of an even series. You know, and there was probably going to be one of these games in this series, one direction or another. And, you know, tonight for us, it went against us in a big way. So,
Chris, where do you think the biggest moment of growth, or the thing that you'll take away from this team that you'll feel best about reflecting on the entire postseason run up to this point?
yeah, I think it's a great question. I think, you know, as every series goes along, like it just gets to another level of execution, another level of fitness, another level of readiness, another level of, like, you know, closing quarters, like everything becomes a little more heightened every series that you go through. So I think that's the biggest thing for us.
And how can you guys as a group use this as kind of a building block to, you know, create a new standard for yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, for that, you know, certainly want to look at the season-long performance as well as anything that happened in the playoffs. Certainly, like, take from what we learned here and the lessons that we were taught, but you know, try to figure out some things, you know, that might you know, kind of be red flags moving forward. But yeah, you got to start back at square one when the season starts. You can't skip any steps. You know, the West is going to be a monster next year, as it continues to be every year. So, but, you know, there was a lot of things we did well this year. Super proud of our guys in just building another layer of foundation to get where we're trying to go. So.
Chris, did they take away what you were trying to do on offense, or did you kind of give it away to some extent?
I mean, their physicality really bothered us. You know, thought their physicality kind of just busted us out of everything we tried to do. So.
And do you think that's been part of a kind of a season-long? I mean, there's been a number of things that have plagued the offense, but
yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's been a season-long thing. It's been certainly here and there over 100 games that you play. It's happened, but yeah. So.
That surprised you most, that their physicality is what got you guys out of it? It's been the opposite for you guys all year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it surprised me. I mean, their defense has been, you know, top defense since the trade deadline. They've done an incredible job of remaking their roster. Two elite rim protectors, you know, like everybody's guarding at a high level. Good schemes. But, yeah, I mean, we weren't able to apply the pressure at the point of attack with their two guys as we have been. And, you know, that feels like we spent the whole series on their hip, or them getting by us a little too easily. And you know, that's a tribute to their great skill as much as anything else. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, I think a lot of people would be like, oh, the Wolves didn't play like the Wolves. But how much do you think Dallas did have to do with that, and especially the play of those two kind of taking you guys out of what you do?
Mean, they shot over 50% again. You know, we've been defensive-led all year. We didn't get our defense consistently into this series the way it needed to be. You know, our most physical effort was last game 4, when we looked a lot more like ourselves on the ball and you know, at the rim and everything else like that. So
for Ant at 22, it's rare in NBA history
Yeah.
when a 22-year-old leads a team in scoring and then leads his team to the finals. What is the next kind of growth here for him, and what did he maybe learn in this series that can propel him forward in the offseason when he goes to work on his game, or
Yeah, I
of reading the
think
game.
for sure. I mean, you continue to got to get better at the things that you see in the playoffs, which get heightened. I think picking up some of the decision making. I thought I did a much better job of that as the year went on, as the playoffs went on. He saw probably more bodies in this series than he had in the previous two, so that was one. But you're right. He's for a number one pick. I think he's had more playoff success than most of his colleagues that have been selected in that spot in recent years. The real challenge is again starting over at day one. You can't get bored with the process of being great, and it takes the summer. It takes 82 games, and it takes sharpening your resolve in the playoffs, and just got to keep putting the work in.
Chris, you said in your first answer you felt like you busted out of structure by going a little isolation heavy in this game. What's the key when Ant and Cat are isolation heavy players to kind of stitch that together, the combination of isolation and structure?
Being able to go in isolation is everybody does it at some point in the game, no matter how much structure you have out there. But you still got to get set. You got to get to the right spacing. A lot of it is spacing related. So we were never really able to kind of get, I don't think, into anything that gave us great shape. So.
Chris, just in this moment, I mean, obviously super disappointing with the way it ended. Are you able to take a step back and just look at the season as a whole and what you accomplished, or is it too fresh here?
No, of course we're very disappointed. I thought, like I said, that when I look back and summer long, going to be a lot of regrets about early parts of the series. But it's been a great year. Very proud of the guys. It's just the way the city has gotten behind the team and the fans. It's been special, and we've always said from the time we got here, we just want to put out a team that people are proud to root for and play the right way. And we feel like we do that. Now we just got to keep fine tuning everything. So, as the summers go on, of course you're going to reflect on the good, and you're going to also reflect on the things where you need to get better.